Old age is a trap, break free now. And I don't say that lightly. I say it because I've seen too many people, intelligent, capable, once vibrant individuals, fall into it. Not all at once. No, it starts subtly. A sigh when they rise from the chair. A delay in answering a question. A hesitation before beginning something new. They call it aging, as if it's some neutral biological phenomenon. But often what we're witnessing isn't biology. It's resignation. It's the slow, invisible surrender to meaninglessness. There's a moment in your life, a moment most people miss, when your body begins to slow and the world starts whispering that your usefulness is over, that you've done your part, that now it's time to rest, to retreat, to fade away. But that voice, seductive as it may sound, is not your friend. It is not compassion. It is not care. It is the harbinger of psychological death. And if you listen to it, if you accept its premise, you will slowly stop being who you are. You'll become a shell, a ghost of the person you were meant to be. I've sat with people at the end of their lives, brilliant minds, weathered souls, some filled with peace, others tormented by regret. And you know what the tormented ones say. I wish I hadn't stopped trying. I wish I hadn't stepped back. That's the trap. It's not age. It's the lie that you're no longer needed, that your contribution has ended. That growth is a young person's game, and that is the most dangerous idea you will ever face, because meaning doesn't retire. Purpose doesn't expire, and your soul, your true self, is not bound by time, but it is bound by truth. By truth. And the truth is this. If you do not find something to aim at, something to love, something to serve, then age will consume you. Not just your flesh, but your spirit. Think of it this way. You are a story. And the last chapters of that story matter just as much. Sometimes more than the first. They give the whole thing meaning. They give it closure. They teach the others who are still in the middle of their tale what it means to carry the burden with dignity, to suffer nobly, to love despite the pain, and to pass on wisdom with grace. I remember a man, 92 years old. He had terminal cancer, and every morning he'd get up, get dressed, walk to the edge of his small garden and feed the birds. He had trouble standing, but he refused help. I asked him why he did it. He smiled and said, because life still visits here, and I wanted to know I'm not done greeting it. Now, that's courage. That's resilience. That's defiance in the face of despair. He understood that old age wasn't permission to die. It was a summons to live differently, more consciously, more intentionally. But that kind of strength doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from habits built over decades, from refusing to believe the narrative that your value is tied to youth, from cultivating a spirit that bends but doesn't break. You've heard people say a growing old is a privilege, and it is, but it's not a privilege if you do it unconsciously. If you allow it to dull your edges. It's a privilege when you meet it with vigilance, with presence, with eyes wide open and a heart still willing to be broken. And that's another thing, heartbreak. It doesn't stop just because you've passed a certain age. You may have lost a spouse, a friend, a child. The ache doesn't disappear. But what you do with that ache, that's what defines you. Do you let it harden you, turn you bitter, or do you let it deepen your compassion? Make you softer where it counts? The people who age well, they're not the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who walked through it and came out with a story worth telling. They took the wound, cleaned it, wrapped it, and then used it as a lantern to guide someone else. I remember a woman in her 70s. She had survived abuse, addiction, and the loss of 2 sons. But when she spoke, her voice didn't tremble. It sang. She ran a support group for young women. She told them the truth, not because she read it in a book, but because she lived it. She told them what it meant to fall and rise and fall again. And those women, they listened, because what she had was authority and wisdom. And that's something only time can give you. If you refuse to waste it, the world needs that. Now more than ever, we are flooded with information, but starving for wisdom. And wisdom only comes through time, through trial, through suffering transformed into insight. If you've lived long, you've suffered. That's a guarantee. But have you redeemed that suffering? Or have you buried it? Because unredeemed suffering poisons the soul. But suffering that is examined, articulated, shared, that becomes medicine. You want to stay young? Then keep giving your medicine. Keep healing others with the story of how you made it through. You've got scars. Show them. Not to gain pity, but to show people what survival looks like. What resilience looks like. What hope lived out looks like. But if you stay silent, if you isolate, if you withdraw, then all of that pain, all of that wisdom, all of that life dies with you. And that's the real tragedy. Not death itself, but a life unlived, a song unsung. So what do? You stand up again, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. You find something to love, something to learn, something to serve. It doesn't have to be grand. Start small. Clean your space. Write your memories. Teach a child how to plant a seed. Read something that challenges you. Confront a fear you've been avoiding for decades. Forgive someone. Forgive yourself. And remember this, the aim doesn't have to be massive, but it has to be meaningful. Viktor Frankl said that when a man has a why, he can bear almost any how. What's your why? Find it. Or make it. If you have breath in your lungs, your task isn't over. If you can speak, then there is someone who needs your voice. If you can move, then there is still something to build. The trap of old age is believing the world has nothing left for you. The truth is, you have something left to give to the world. And here's another thing no one tells you. You can reinvent yourself. At 60, at 70, at 85, you're not stuck. You're not done. I've seen people start businesses in their retirement. I've seen them fall in love again. Write poetry for the first time. Travel alone across countries. Learn instruments. Speak their truth. Set boundaries. Say no when they used to say yes out of fear. Oh, that's not just freedom, that's transformation. But it takes courage and discipline and willingness to look foolish. That's the price of growth. And it's the same at 20 as it is at 80. Fear doesn't go away, but courage is choosing what matters more. So choose life, choose discomfort, choose meaning, and choose love. If you do that daily, relentlessly, you will find that old age is not a trap. It is a teacher. It strips away the false, the shallow, the performative. It asks, what is essential? And if you're honest, if you've done your work, you'll answer, what's essential is what I give away, what I build in others. What I leave behind that breathes life, not death. You were not made to rot in front of a television, to count pills, to shrink. You were made to illuminate, to elevate, to testify, to become. And that possibility, that's still within reach right now. But the clock is ticking and you don't have forever. So break free now. Let your old age be your rebellion against apathy, against despair, against the slow drift into nothingness. Break free with every book you read, with every story you tell, with every act of service, with every tear you shed openly, with every step you take towards something that frightens you, with every laugh you allow yourself despite the pain, with every truth you speak before it's too late. You're not finished, not by a long shot. So rise again and become what you were always meant to be.